recent years, as we have been actively engaging in war, things the government used to do is now being done by private companies.
Food, laundry, and housing were services provided within the military.
Now we're in Iraq, you still need a lot of support mechanisms, and there's just not enough military infrastructure to do this. Private contractors come in and they fill the gap.
Well, I saw contractors in Iraq doing anywhere from helping fix tanks, helicopter mechanics, pretty much any job that's in the military, there's a civilian contractor right there.
There are over 100,000 private contractors working in Iraq, Kuwait, and the surrounding area.
This war has been privatized to a greater extent than any other war in history.
They're part of a multi-billion-dollar industry fueled by your tax dollars, an industry very much in need by the U.S. military.
40 cents out of every dollar Congress controls now goes to contractors.
There's more than 20,000 private military on the ground.
The second largest armed force in Iraq are private security. They outscale the Brits or any other nation.
Blackwater is one of the largest and most conspicuous security firms in Iraq, with about 300 employees there. Blackwater is staffed largely by retired U.S. military, including former members of the Special Forces.
Scotty was told that he would be doing security for Paul Bremer, the ambassador, that he would just go everywhere Paul Bremer went, and there would be usually like 3 8-hour shifts. And that was fine with Scotty, because he didn't go over there to hurt anyone. He was there to protect people.
Watch out now. I don't want you to get underneath me when I'm climbing. You might get hurt. Hey, Kelsey.
He just had an incredible way with sports. Even as a small child, he was the best swimmer on the swim team. He was amazing. First time he ran away from home, I think he was 6 months old, and somehow he'd gotten the front door open and he was in his walker. And I'm getting ready for work, and he's hauling tail down this hill, heading for the playground. And it just totally stunned me. And he was like that for the rest of his life. He was always running. Scotty went into the Navy on his 17th birthday. He loved being a SEAL.
Oh, what's this falling down?
As far as Scotty going to Iraq, he chose Blackwater because they had a 2-month contract. And Scotty wasn't going to have to be away from his kids very long. He needed to make some money.
My son called me and he told me that he was going to Kuwait with Paul Bremer, the ambassador in Iraq. I still have little soldiers in a shoebox that he used to play with. Those were his favorite toys.
Love boys.
What?
This is Jerry this time. That's my favorite picture for, I'm talking, that's...
And Jerry always
4 or 5.
carried it with him, always.
Wow.
Wherever Jerry went, he had that picture with him. That was my Jerry. Then came my Tommy, then my niece Anita, then my nephew Yuri.
Yes, everything's
then
my
Lydia.
Tommy and my Jerry. I love that.
Well, he was, he was the firstborn. Everything I knew about kids, I learned with him, and for him. The news came on the radio, and it said that there was an incident in Fallujah.
Breaking news story tonight. The 4 American civilians were ambushed and killed in Fallujah, and they're believed to be from a local company called Blackwater Security Counseling.
There are 4 families in this world today that are going to get knocks on the doors, and you don't want to be on either side of that door when that happens, either hearing the news or delivering the news.
Reality didn't check in. I didn't want to believe it. I still don't want to believe it, but the fact is he's not walking the earth. I need to pray for his soul. I miss him.
I was so angry. I was so unbelievably angry. And I didn't even know what had happened. But I was just angry that my son had died. The people that did this horrible thing, these Iraqi insurgents, or maybe they were just kids on the street, They were taught hatred for anyone that didn't represent what they had been taught to believe in. And I found it so hard to hate them. But when I found out what Blackwater did, that's when I started really feeling real. I don't know how to say it.
The vehicles should have been armored, and they also should have had saws, which are heavy belt-fed machine guns, in each vehicle, which they didn't have. There were supposed to be 3 individuals in each car. They pulled off 2 guys to do, from what I was told, clerical work. So they sent them out short 2 men.
Their contracts list that they were to know where they're going, and they were to know people that they're working with.
And have been there before.
And have been there before. So they...
If they had had an armored vehicle, if they had had the rear gunman, he was the one that was going to protect them.
My son is not walking the earth because people that he trusted and worked for did not care about him. It was the mighty dollar. That's all that they cared about.
They knowingly skimped on the mission. They cut corners left and right.
Shameful country, shameful Blackwater, shameful rule, Blackwater.
What happened to them while they were with this company, not the American military, this company, had responsibilities that they didn't live up to. And our family members died because of that.
The most dangerous city on earth. No rear gunner, no armored vehicles, not even a map. That's, to me, negligent homicide.
They were just numbers for them.
Just people who they can bill for.
This is a situation that was in the front page of the news, that was leading various network broadcasts for several days, and how that company manages that challenge will really dictate the future of that company. The first focus has to be for any company that finds itself in the type of crisis that Blackwater found itself in is, what do we need to do to preserve the financial business future of this company? This is a company whose success, economic success, is completely contingent upon funding from the US government. Within the first 24 hours, Blackwater hired a DC lobbying firm called Alexander Strategies Group. ASG is one of those small handful of firms in 2004 that was part of the Republican conservative club. Blackwater itself, in particular its CEO and founder, Eric Prince, has long-standing ties to the conservative movement, particularly on the Christian Coalition side, had been very generous with his campaign contributions over the years. He and his family contributed over $2 million to Republican candidates and the Republican Party.
Hey guys, I really don't want to talk to you, okay? Thank you. Well, I'll ask you some questions about your men in Fallujah. What happened there, sir?
Fallujah happens the last day of March. Within 24 or 48 hours after that, they're literally on the Hill meeting with some of the most powerful members of Congress who really were going to dictate what was going to happen to this company in terms of its funding. They went to John Warner, who was the chair of the Armed Services Committee on the Senate side. They went to Duncan Hunter, who is a congressman from San Diego, who is the chair of the Armed Services Committee on the House side.
They met with Rick Santorum, who is chair of the Republican Senate Conference Committee, which is a very, very powerful post.
Contractors are among those who have been taken hostage. They've also suffered terribly, injuries and loss of life, the most horrific of which occurred on April 13th of this year, Madam President, when the bodies of 4 contractors